Good day, what's up? Welcome. We're here once again. We are on day 9 and we are getting through, we are more than halfway through Genesis. So we almost finished the first book of the Bible and we are on chapter 37. And 37 is, we're focusing on Joseph's dream and Joseph, after Joseph being sold into Egypt. So let's get on with it, continue because it's been another busy day again, a bit later than I wanted to be today, but here we are. And I probably should say a prayer before we start, but I'm getting used to this, like, because it's been a long time since I've done anything just like, so I don't want to be like doing anything that's not authentic, like, and it's not real. So it just doesn't feel like, but I will get there. But I want to do send blessings out to everyone that does tune in, does hit the like button, and who subscribes to the channel. Definitely appreciate you for that. So let's get on with it. I'm gonna do my best to get through this, and hopefully we don't gotta like the last couple of days. The names have been like just kicking my butt. The names that they have it at inside of the all the different names of the sons and daughters and stuff. And I'm finding that the book of Genesis is it's very similar to stuff that is happening today. It's just really it's almost like Genesis was written just now, over probably the last 5 or 10 years of my life and just like of life. And it's just very similar. So it's just crazy how things weren't much different back then. Men will always be men. So let's get on with it. So, chapter 7, this is Joseph. We're into now Joseph's dream. And then also we'll get into as Joseph gets sold into Egypt. So, and Joseph dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Jacob, being 17 years old, was feeding a flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Belial and the sons of Zephaniah and the fathers and wives. Joseph brought unto the father for their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all of his children because he was the son of old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw it, the fathers loved him more than all the other brethren that hated him and could not speak peaceably up unto him. So that was chapter 37. That was the beginning of the chapter 37, talking about how his father, Jacob's father, I'm sorry, Joseph's father made him this immaculate coat, and everyone just didn't like it. So I just realized that I read that already yesterday. So let's scoot over to chapter 38. It's where we left off, and yeah, it's getting hard to keep up with everything. So and this is after Joseph had been sold into Egypt. And make sure you hit the like button. If you pass through, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Don't miss your blessing. Anyway, chapter 38, Joseph sold into Egypt. And it came to pass at the time of Judah, at the time that Judah went down. Is that Judah? Yeah, Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Aldulamite, whose name was Hilrah. And Judah saw that, and he saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shuah, and he took her and went unto her, and she conceived and bare a son. When he took her, what does he mean that he took her? Did he take her for his wife? Did he take her against her will? Um, that anyway, I'm pretty sure I'll get into it as we read on. And he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Canaan. So he must have taken it for a wife, and yet again conceived and bare another son and called his name Shelah, and she lie, and he was at Chezeb when she bare him. She was at Chezeb when she bare him, and Judah took a wife for Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. Wow. And Judah said unto Onan, Go go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and rise up and seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord. Wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter in law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Shilai, my son, be grown. And he said, let uh, pre-adventure, lest, the word pre-adventure means maybe, lest maybe he die also. And his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in the process of time, the daughters of Shihar, Judah's wife, died up unto his sheep shears to Timnath, and he and his friend Harah and the Odomite. And it was told to Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father is law, goeth up to Timnath and share his sheep. And she put her widow's garments. Here we go. She put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. And she saw that Shilai was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come into let me come unto thee. For he knew that she could be, because for he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, and that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it to her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. Wow, so a lot of a lot of conceiving going on. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garment of her a widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Edomite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the man of the place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And then he said, There was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And he also and also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after that, it was told to Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. Wow. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these are, am I with the child? Am I with child? And said, Discern, I pray, discern, and said, Discern, I pray thee, whose are these, the signet and bracelets and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, She had been more righteous than I, because I gave her not to Sheila, my son. Sorry, Sheila, my son. And he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of travail that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when they travailed that one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth this breach? Be up, be up on thee. Therefore his name was called Phares. And afterwards came out his brother, that the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zarha. Chapter 39. Man, it's a lot of stuff going on. Trying to keep up with everything that's going on. It's a lot going on. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and the Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him to brought him on the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of the master of the Egyptians. And the master saw the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper to his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put in his all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass on that time that he had made him overseer in the house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house and Joseph's sake. And the blessings of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all of that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a godly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things, that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wanteth not, my master's what if not what is with me in the house. Sort of didn't really understand that little bit there. And he has committed all that he hath in my hand. There is none greater in the house than I, neither hath thou kept back anything from me, but because thou art his wife, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass as he spake to Joseph, it came to pass as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time, that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me, and left his garments in her hand, and he left his garment in her hand, and fled and fled and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and he was fled forth, that she called out. Then she called unto the men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted my voice, he and cried, that he left the garment with me and fled, and 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 got him out. And she laid upon the garment, and she laid it up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him accordingly to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which spake unto him, saying, after this manner did the servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's masters took him and put him into a prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners, and were and that were in the prison. Oops, sorry. And whosoever did these, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under the hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it proper. And it came to pass after these things that the butler, that the butler, what's it to? And it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended the Lord, the king of Egypt, and the Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers, and he put them in the ward in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, in the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served with them, and they continued a season in the ward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man in his dream one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. The butler and the baker of the king of Egypt were which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward at the Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpretation of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me then, I pray you. And the chief and the brother told the dream to Joseph, and said unto him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and the vine where the were three branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters therefore brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave him a cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, this is the interpretation of it. The three branches are 3 days. Yet within the 3 days shall Pharaoh Yet within the 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head and restore thee unto thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former manner when thou wast his butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of his house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also I have done nothing, that they should put me into the dungeon. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my I also was in my dream, and behold, I had three white baskets on my head, and on the uppermost basket there was all a manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation, therefore. The three baskets are 3 days. Yet within the 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head from from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off of thee. Wow. And it came to pass at the third day, which Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all the servants, and lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and gave a cup, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. Chapter 41. And it came to pass at the end of all of 2 full years that the Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came out of the river 7 well favored keen of his fat keen of well favored, keen and fat fleshed, and they fed into the meadow. And behold, seven other king came up after them out of the river, ill favored and lean fleshed, and stood by the king upon the brink of the river. And the ill favored and lean fleshed did eat up the seven well flavored and fat kin. So Pharaoh awoke and he slept and he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, uh, ra- rank and good. And behold, seven then ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the seven then ears devoured the seven rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for his magicians of, of Egypt and all of the wise men, therefore. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none of them that could interpret this them to unto Pharaoh. They spoke to the chief butler until Pharaoh said, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and he put me in his ward in the captain's guard house, both me and the chief baker, and we dreamed a dream in one night, and he dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was with us a young man, a Hebrew servant to a captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us dreams, to each man according to his dream. And he did interpret, and it came to pass an interpretation to us. So it was me who restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon and shaved him, and they shaved himself and changed his raiment and came unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand the dream and interpret it. And Pharaoh answered, and Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river seven king, fat fleshed, and well flavored, and they fed in the meadow. And behold, seven other kin came up after them, poor and very ill favored, and lean fleshed, such as I never saw in the land of Egypt for badness. And the ill favored kin did eat up the first seven fat kin. And when they had eaten them, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill favored as in the beginning. So I woke, and then I saw my dream, and behold, seven ears came up in one stalk, full of good, and behold, seven ears within withered, then and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the seven good ears, and I told this unto the magicians, but none of them could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The seven good kin are the 7 years, and the seven good ears are 7 years, and in one dream. And the seven thin and ill-favored kin came up after them are 7 years, and the seven empty ears blasted if the east wind shall be the 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what God is about to do, and he do showeth unto Pharaoh, behold, there will come 7 years of great plenty throughout of all of the land of Egypt, and then and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and and all the all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land, and plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of famine following, for it shall be grievous. And for that, the dream was dubbed unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint an officer over the land, and take up a fifth part of the land out of Egypt in the 7 uh, plantations years, and let them gather all of the food and those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities, and the food shall be there for store in the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt. And the land perished not, and the land was Egypt, that the land perished not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, as a man whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, and for as much as God hath showed thee all of this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and he put it on Joseph's hand, and and arrayed him in a vestures of fine linen, and put on a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Nephpianiah, and he gave him a wife, Ashneith, and the daughter of Poti, Poti priest of On. And Joseph went out over all of that and Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh's king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of the Pharaoh and went throughout all of the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth handfuls, brought forth handfuls, and he gathered up all of the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid the food in the cities. Laid the food in the cities, and the food of the field, which sorry, which was round about every city, laid up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn at the sand, and Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of the famine came, which as Eneth, Ash'eneth, and the daughter of Pharaoh, and the daughter of Tipar, Itpara, priest of On, bear unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, Manasseh, for God said, He hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second child of he, and the name of the second called he Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be faithful in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of plentiness there was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began and come to according to Joseph. He had said, and the dearth was in all of the land. But the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he has saith to you, do. And the famine was over all of the face of the earth. And Joseph opened up all of the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because the famine was so sore in all lands. So we are on chapter 42, and we're going to stop there for today. And this is Joseph take talketh with his brethren, and that's is where we're at now. Anyway, I thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we're gonna do this. So this, I felt pretty good about that today. It's a pretty good read today. It's just so interesting. I mean, it's been such a long time since I, was in church and doing the Bible and just reading everything. Like, when we was in church, they would only pull out certain chapters and verses that we studied or went over, and so you never was able to consume the whole Bible. You had to read it for yourself, which is what we didn't do. And reading it now, there's like, definitely remembering some stuff, but also just seeing stuff that I just don't remember. Or even if we did read it, but it's just so much, and it's just so interesting. So we are on chapter 42. We will hopefully be back tomorrow a little earlier, and hopefully you can join us. And I hope that this was good for you, and blessings unto you. And I'm gonna just do my best to get through this and be with you every day until we get through. So so chapter 42, and this is the last few chapters of the book of Genesis. And we will see you tomorrow. And may you have a blessed day. Thank you for joining us.